Have you ever felt completely drained after a phone call with a loved one? Or left a family gathering feeling more exhausted than joyful? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? When the people who are supposed to bring us comfort and support somehow leave us feeling diminished, we're taught that family is everything, that blood is thicker than water, and that we should always stick by those closest to us. And for so many years, perhaps we've lived by that unspoken rule, often at a silent cost to our own peace and happiness. But as we reach our golden years, a new truth starts to emerge. Doesn't it? Our time, our energy, our peace of mind, these become incredibly precious commodities. We've spent a lifetime perhaps trying to please everyone, to navigate complex family dynamics, to keep the peace. But now, it's truly time for us. The painful reality for many of us is that some of the deepest hurts and the most persistent drains on our energy come from within our own circles, from people we feel obligated to keep close. The secret isn't about abandoning those you care about, but about recognizing patterns and protecting your peace. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 types of people, even if they're family, who might be subtly or not so subtly stealing your peace and happiness as you navigate this wonderful chapter of your life. Knowing who they are is the first, crucial step to reclaiming your joy. And stick around until the very end, because I'm going to share something truly surprising that could change how you look at your relationships forever. Let's start right in with the first type of person you might want to create some healthy distance from as you get older: the chronic complainer, or the perpetual victim. You know the type. Every conversation with them feels like walking into a storm cloud. No matter what the weather, it's always raining on their parade. They see problems everywhere, but never solutions. They talk endlessly about how difficult their life is, how unfair things are, how everyone else has it better, or how they're constantly being wronged. And the truly exhausting part is that they rarely take any responsibility for their own circumstances. Everything is happening to them, never because of them. You might offer practical advice, suggest solutions, or simply try to cheer them up. But it's as if your words vanish into a black hole of negativity. They don't want solutions. They want an audience for their misery. Think about those long phone calls where you barely get a word in edgewise, except to say, "Oh no, that's terrible," or "I'm so sorry to hear that," over and over again, as they recount a fresh litany of woes. Or perhaps it's a family gathering where they manage to steer every conversation back to their latest misfortune, dominating the air with their gloom, leaving everyone else feeling uncomfortable and drained. Why is this particularly draining after 60? Well, our energy levels just aren't what they used to be. Are they? We've got less tolerance for unnecessary drama and certainly less capacity to be someone else's emotional dumpster. We're at a point in our lives where we're ideally looking for peace, for enjoyment, for connections that uplift us, not drag us down into a spiral of perpetual unhappiness. When you're constantly exposed to this kind of negativity, it's like breathing polluted air. It slowly but surely affects your own outlook, your own mood, and even your physical energy. It's hard to stay optimistic and vibrant when someone close to you is constantly broadcasting a message of despair. It's not your job to fix their life, and honestly, you can't. They're often deeply entrenched in their perspective. So, what can you do? One actionable step is to set boundaries around your time and attention. If they call, you might say, "It's lovely to hear from you, but I only have about 15 minutes right now." And stick to it. When they start to complain, you can gently pivot the conversation. "I hear you're having a tough time with that. On a brighter note, I was just thinking about," or "I hope things improve for you soon. Anyway, I wanted to ask you about," if they persist. You can politely end the conversation, stating you have something else you need to do. It's not about being heartless. It's about self-preservation. You can offer compassion and empathy, but you don't have to allow yourself to be consumed by their endless grievances. Remember, your peace is precious. Now, closely related to that, but with a different flavor of toxicity, is the second type of person the control freak, or the relentless demander. These are the people who constantly tell you what you should do, how you should live, or make demands on your time and resources without much consideration for your own needs or desires. They often genuinely believe they know what's best for you, even when it's clearly not. And they have a way of subtly or not so subtly trying to steer your life in the direction they think it should go. This can manifest in countless ways. Perhaps they dictate how you spend your retirement savings, questioning every financial decision you make. Maybe they constantly demand you babysit grandchildren on their schedule, without asking about your plans or energy levels, expecting you to drop everything. Or they might criticize your personal choices, your hobbies, your diet, even your new relationships, implying you're making poor decisions and that they know better. You might find yourself constantly justifying your choices, explaining why you're doing what you're doing, or feeling guilty for simply wanting to live your own life. This can make you feel like a child again, robbing you of the autonomy and independence you've worked a lifetime to achieve. After all, haven't we earned the right to make our own choices and live life on our own terms? Now, this isn't about being ungrateful for help or advice, but about someone constantly overstepping boundaries and trying to manage your life, rather than respecting your freedom. So, how do you handle this? The key here is learning to say no, gracefully, but firmly. It's a powerful word. Isn't it often? We feel an obligation, especially with family, to always say yes, to always be available, to always comply. But as we age, establishing and reinforcing boundaries becomes absolutely vital for our mental and emotional well-being. When a demand is made, you can respond with phrases like, "That doesn't work for me," or "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm not available then." You don't always need to offer a lengthy explanation or an elaborate excuse. The simpler, the better. If they persist, you can gently reiterate your boundary. "I'm sorry, but that's my decision." Or, "I've thought about it, and no, I won't be able to." It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to asserting yourself. But remember, you are protecting your own peace. Your golden years should be about enjoying your freedom, exploring new passions, and living authentically, not constantly feeling beholden to someone else's agenda. It's about respecting your own boundaries and not letting others dictate your life. This isn't about being selfish. It's about claiming the life you've earned the right to live. It is a profound act of self-care and self-respect, especially at this stage of life. Now that we've talked about the chronic complainer and the control freak, let's move on to another type that can really chip away at your spirit, the critic, or the perpetual judge. This person is always finding fault, quick to point out flaws, and loves to give unsolicited advice that often sounds less like guidance and more like thinly veiled criticism. They might compare you to others. "Your cousin's garden is so much tidier than yours." Or, "Aunt Helen always managed to do X, Y, and Z when she was your age." Or, perhaps even more frustratingly, they compare you to a younger version of yourself. "You used to be so much more active." Or, "You used to bake such wonderful pies." What happened? Their words, even if intended to be helpful, often erode your confidence and make you feel as though you're constantly falling short. They might disguise their criticism as tough love or just being honest, but the underlying impact is that you feel scrutinized and judged, rather than accepted and loved for who you are right now. Imagine trying a new hobby, something you're truly enjoying, only for this person to immediately highlight every perceived mistake or suggest a better way of doing it, sucking all the joy out of your new pursuit. Or you share a personal accomplishment, and instead of genuine praise, You get a backhanded compliment or a question designed to undermine your achievement. Why is this particularly difficult after 60? Well, we've spent a lifetime learning, growing, and adapting. We've accumulated a wealth of experience, and frankly, we've probably become quite comfortable in our own skin. The last thing we need at this stage is someone constantly making us feel less than, or making us doubt our capabilities and choices. Our later years should be about celebrating who we've become, embracing our wisdom, and enjoying the fruits of our efforts, not constantly defending ourselves against a barrage of unsolicited judgments. This constant scrutiny can lead to self-doubt, anxiety, and a feeling of not being good enough, which can truly diminish your quality of life. What can you do when faced with the relentless critic? The best approach is often to avoid engaging in lengthy debates or trying to explain yourself. Their criticism often stems from their own insecurities, not your actual failings. Simple, dismissive phrases can work wonders. "Thank you for your opinion," or "I'll keep that in mind." Then, change the subject. Or, if the criticism persists and becomes truly unbearable, you might have to limit your exposure. If you know certain topics trigger their critical nature, try to steer clear of them in conversation. If they start, politely change the subject. Remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation for living your life authentically. Your peace of mind is more important than satisfying someone else's need to find fault. Next, let's talk about the fourth type of toxic person, the taker, or the relentless user. This is someone who seems to always be asking for favors, money, time, or emotional support, but rarely, if ever, reciprocates. They see you as a resource to be exploited, not as a person to be cherished and supported in return. You might notice a pattern where they only reach out when they need something, and then disappear until their next need arises. They might use guilt trips, emotional manipulation, or even subtle threats to get what they want from you. Think about the family member who constantly borrows money they never repay, always has a crisis that requires your immediate attention, or expects free childcare or home maintenance. Despite your own busy schedule or physical limitations, it's not that we shouldn't help our loved ones. Of course we should, when we can and when it's appropriate. But with the taker, the relationship is consistently one-sided. You're always giving, and they're always receiving. There's no balance, no consideration for your own resources, and often, no genuine gratitude. You might find yourself feeling resentful, depleted, and used, yet struggling to say no because of a sense of obligation or fear of upsetting them. This kind of one-sided dynamic is particularly damaging as we age. Our resources, our time, our energy, and certainly our financial stability are finite. Allowing someone to constantly drain them leaves us with less for ourselves, less for our true loved ones, and less to enjoy the peaceful retirement we've worked so hard for. It can lead to financial strain, emotional exhaustion, and a feeling of being taken for granted. So, what's the actionable step here? It's crucial to establish clear limits on what you're willing to give before you automatically say yes to a request. Pause and consider if it truly aligns with your comfort level, your capacity, and your own needs. It's okay to say, "I'm sorry, I can't help with that right now," or "My budget doesn't allow for that at the moment." If it's a recurring request for money, you might set a hard limit or say you're no longer able to provide financial assistance. If it's childcare, establish clear boundaries on frequency and duration that work for you. You are not a bottomless pit of resources. Recognize the pattern of one-sidedness and give yourself permission to protect what's yours. It's about responsible stewardship of what you have and ensuring that you have enough to live your own life comfortably and joyfully. This isn't about being selfish. It's about acknowledging your worth and the value of your time and resources. Finally, we come to perhaps the most insidious type of toxic person, the saboteur, or the gaslighter. This person might actively undermine your happiness, subtly spread rumors, twist your words, or deny things they said or did, leaving you confused and doubting your own memory and sanity. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation where someone makes you question your own reality, making you feel crazy, confused, or overly sensitive when you're simply reacting to their toxic behavior. They might say, "That never happened," "You're imagining things," or "You're too emotional," even when you know, deep down, that you are right. They might also try to isolate you from supportive friends or family, making you more reliant on them and thus more susceptible to their manipulation. This type of toxicity can be incredibly damaging because it attacks your very sense of self and your ability to trust your own perceptions. You might find yourself constantly replaying conversations, wondering if you misremembered something, or questioning your own judgment. This can lead to profound anxiety, self-doubt, and a feeling of being constantly off-kilter. Imagine trying to explain a situation, only to have them deny it outright, or twist your words so you sound like the unreasonable one, leaving you feeling utterly bewildered and alone. This isn't just about making you feel bad. It's about gaining control over your reality. The profound impact of gaslighting on mental health, especially in our later years, cannot be overstated. After 60, we deserve clarity, peace, and confidence in who we are and what we know. We certainly don't need someone systematically dismantling our mental fortitude. So, what's the most crucial step when dealing with a saboteur or a gaslighter? Trust your gut feeling. Even if they're telling you otherwise, your intuition is a powerful tool. If something feels off, it probably is. It can be helpful to keep a journal of interactions, noting dates, times, and specific things said or done. This record can be a lifeline when you start to doubt yourself, a tangible proof of what happened. Seek external validation from trusted, objective friends or family members who you know have your best interests at heart. Share what you're experiencing with them and listen to their perspective. Most importantly, distance is crucial here. This type of individual thrives on your confusion and their ability to control your reality. The more you can limit your exposure, the better. This might mean significantly reducing contact, or even, in severe cases, cutting ties completely. Protecting your mental well-being and your sense of self is paramount. You are not crazy, you are not imagining things, and you deserve to live in a reality that is clear and true to you. This kind of manipulation is deeply damaging, and recognizing it is the first step towards reclaiming your mental freedom. So, we've talked about the chronic complainers who drain your energy with their endless negativity, the control freaks who try to dictate your life and diminish your autonomy, the relentless critics who chip away at your confidence and make you feel perpetually inadequate, the takers who see you as a limitless resource to be exploited, and the insidious saboteurs or gaslighters who twist your reality and make you doubt your own sanity. Now, I know hearing all this, especially when we're talking about family, can feel incredibly heavy. It might bring up feelings of guilt, sadness, or even anger. It's important to remember that recognizing these patterns isn't about condemning people or abandoning your loved ones entirely. It's about protecting your own well-being, your peace of mind, and the precious years ahead of you. You've worked hard, you've lived a lot, and you deserve to enjoy this chapter of your life on your own terms, surrounded by people who uplift you, not drain you. It's natural to feel a deep sense of loyalty to family, to feel obligated to maintain relationships even when they cause you pain. For decades, perhaps, you've put others' needs before your own, played mediator, or just quietly endured. But as we reach this stage of life, our priorities shift, don't they? Our tolerance for drama decreases, and our desire for genuine connection, peace, and joy becomes paramount. This isn't about being selfish. It's about vital self-care. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of respect, worthy of healthy relationships, and worthy of living a life that truly nourishes your soul. Small, Consistent steps can make a huge difference in creating healthier boundaries and a more joyful environment for yourself. Sometimes, it's not about cutting ties completely. It's about limiting exposure. Setting firm boundaries, communicating clearly about what you will and won't accept, or even just shifting your own perspective on the relationship. It's about choosing your peace over perceived obligation. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. If your relationships are constantly draining you, you'll have nothing left for yourself or for the truly meaningful connections in your life. And remember how I promised you something truly surprising at the end. Here it is often. The biggest shift doesn't come from changing them, but from changing you from within. It's about realizing your worth, understanding your boundaries, and giving yourself permission to prioritize your own peace and happiness, even if it means stepping away from relationships that no longer serve you, regardless of who they are. It's about understanding that you are enough, just as you are, and that your peace is non-negotiable. This realization, this profound internal shift, is often the most surprising and the most liberating truth you can embrace in your later years. It's not about being hard-hearted or cutting people off. It's about having the courage to create a life that truly supports your well-being. This isn't just about avoiding toxic people. It's about cultivating a life rich in genuine connection, personal contentment, and the freedom to be truly yourself. It's about understanding that your happiness is not dependent on someone else's approval or behavior. You have the power to curate your life, including your relationships, to ensure they contribute to your joy, not detract from it. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Have you encountered these types of people in your life? Even within your family, how have you handled them? What strategies have you found effective in protecting your peace? Share your experiences, your wisdom, and your tips in the comments below. Your stories can truly help others who might be going through something similar and feeling isolated. And if this video resonated with you, if it gave you something valuable to think about, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps more people find this important message and allows us to continue creating content that supports you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more helpful content designed to help you live your best life at every age. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, your peace is precious. Cherish it, protect it, and live your best life every single day.